The ancient warning was carved into the walls of every major galactic council chamber. Remember the rule of Terra, never anger Earth. For 10,000 years, advanced civilizations had passed this knowledge down, a fundamental law of survival as important as faster-than-light travel. But time had a way of dulling even the sharpest fears. High Admiral Vexthor of the Kraxan Federation stood before his war council, his crystalline form glowing with ambition. These humans, he sneered, projecting images of Earth's seemingly primitive vessels. We've watched them for decades. Primitive projectile weapons. Basic shield technology. They haven't even mastered basic quantum mechanics. His subordinates shifted uncomfortably. First speaker Myra Lon, her crystalline form tinged with worry, spoke up. Admiral, the ancestral codex is clear. Earth is forbidden territory. The warnings are nothing but ancient superstition, Vexthor interrupted. Look at them. They spend more time fighting among themselves than advancing their technology. The old races are using these myths to keep young civilizations like ours from claiming our rightful place. In the darkness of space, Kraxan warships began their approach toward Earth's outer colonies. Their stealth systems were perfect, their weapons primed. This would be an easy conquest. On Earth, in the Planetary Defense Command buried deep beneath the Mariana Trench, Lieutenant General Diana Frost watched multiple displays light up simultaneously. Her silver hair reflected the red warning lights as she turned to her second-in-command, Colonel Marcus Chen. They've crossed the Pluto line. Just as intelligence predicted. Chen's dark eyes narrowed at the tactical display. The Kraxan Federation. Young, ambitious, and apparently terrible at reading history. He paused, studying the invasion fleet's formation. They didn't even bother checking why Earth maintains minimal defenses despite having the resources for more. Because they believe what we want them to believe, Frost replied, pressing her palm against a biometric scanner. Deep beneath every ocean on Earth, ancient machinery began to wake. Time to remind the galaxy why the rule exists. In high orbit around Mars, the Kraxan flagship detected something unusual. Admiral, the sensor officer called out, his crystalline form pulsing with confusion. Energy readings from Earth's oceans. Massive power signatures, impossible readings. Vexthor dismissed the concerns with a wave. Their primitive underwater bases are no threat to Dash. He never finished the sentence. The oceans of Earth parted, pushed aside by gravitational fields that defied known physics. From these aquatic wombs rose humanity's true fleet, ships that made the Kraxan vessels look like children's toys. The Eternal Vigilance, Earth's flagship, emerged from the Pacific. Its hull wasn't metal but something darker, drinking in light itself. Along its sides ran lines of energy that pulsed with power enough to reshape solar systems. More ships followed, each carrying weapons that the galaxy had forgotten could exist. In the Galactic Council chambers, ancient races watched their monitoring devices with growing horror. The archivists of Centauri Prime sent out an emergency broadcast, "They wake. The Terrans wake. The rule has been broken." General Frost's voice transmitted across all frequencies, translated perfectly into every known language. Kraxan Federation, you have ignored the oldest rule in known space. Your arrogance has awakened what your ancestors feared to disturb. This is your only warning. Retreat now, or learn why every star system knows never to anger Earth. In his flagship, Vexthor finally felt fear as his sensors revealed the truth. The humans hadn't been primitive, they had been waiting. Their technology wasn't underdeveloped, it was deliberately hidden. And now, as his invasion fleet faced the full might of an awakened Earth, he understood why the ancient warnings existed. Impossible, he whispered as the first human ships moved. Their weapons didn't fire beams or projectiles, they fired what looked like pieces of space itself, dark tears in reality that simply erased whatever they touched. In the Planetary Defense Command, General Frost watched the Kraxan fleet's reaction. "Send the message to all monitoring stations throughout the galaxy," she ordered. "The rule exists for a reason. Earth remembers why we chose peace. Now they'll remember why we were feared." The galaxy watched as humanity's first response began. The rule had been broken. Earth had been angered. And now, every civilization would remember why that had been a terrible mistake. The galaxy held its breath. In the great archive halls of Centauri Prime, Chief Archivist Colthell rushed through corridors lined with crystalline memory banks. His assistants scattered before him as he reached the Forbidden Vault, a chamber unopened for millennia. "Find the Terra records," he commanded, his tentacles flying over ancient control panels. "Before it's too late." Across the galaxy, every advanced civilization watched their quantum sensors as Earth's true fleet emerged. The Kraxan Federation's invasion force hung motionless in space, caught between retreat and destruction. No one had seen Earth's real military power in thousands of years. Now they remembered why. On the bridge of the Eternal Vigilance, General Diana Frost stood before a tactical display that showed not just local space, but the reactions of every major civilization in the galaxy. "Status of the Kraxan fleet," she asked. Colonel Chen's fingers danced across his console. "Shields at maximum. They are attempting to establish a defensive formation. Their quantum communications are going crazy, trying to call for reinforcements." He paused, a grim smile crossing his face. "They still don't understand what they are facing." The Kraxan flagship shuddered as High Admiral Vexthor watched his sensors reveal more impossible readings. Where Earth had shown only primitive defenses, now layers of quantum fields rippled through space. Where there had been nothing but empty void, now vast defense platforms phased into existence. "Launch the attack," he commanded, his crystalline form pulsing with desperate energy. "Show these primitives the might of the Kraxan Federation." His fleet's most powerful weapons, quantum disruptors capable of tearing apart capital ships, lanced out toward Earth's vessels. The beams struck, and simply vanished into the darkness of the human ships' hulls. In the Eternal Vigilance's command center, Lieutenant Commander Rhea Patel watched the attack through advanced sensor displays. "Their weapons are being absorbed by the quantum sync fields," she reported calmly. "Zero damage to any systems. Should we demonstrate why that was a mistake?" General Frost nodded once. "Show them what humanity has been hiding all these years." The human fleet moved. Not with the crude thrust of normal engines, but with the elegant precision of ships that could manipulate space itself. They didn't fly through space, they commanded it. In the archive halls, Colthell finally found what he sought. The ancient records blazed to life, showing images that made his assistants stumble back in terror. By the first light, one whispered. The legends were true. The records showed Earth ships from ages past, wielding powers that advanced civilizations still couldn't comprehend. They showed why humanity had chosen to hide this power, to pretend weakness rather than face endless challenges from young races wanting to prove themselves. The Kraxan fleet fired again. This time, the human ships didn't bother absorbing the attack. Reality rippled around Earth's vessels as quantum phase generators activated. The Kraxan's weapons passed through empty space where human ships had been milliseconds before. "All ships," General Frost's voice was cold and clear. "Execute Pattern Omega. Show them why Earth chose peace, and what happens when that peace is broken." The human fleet split into perfect formation. From their hulls emerged weapons that the galaxy had forgotten could exist. Not crude energy beams or primitive projectiles, but instruments of war that bent physics itself to their will. The first shot from the Eternal Vigilance didn't destroy its target, it rewrote the space around it. A Kraxan heavy cruiser simply ceased to exist, converted to energy so efficiently that there wasn't even debris. In his flagship, Vexthor watched in horror as his fleet died. Not through violence or explosion, but through the cold execution of physics beyond his comprehension. "Cease fire," he screamed across all channels. "We surrender." A bit late for that, Colonel Chen observed on the Eternal Vigilance's bridge. "The galaxy needs its reminder." "Shall we proceed, General?" Before Frost could answer, a transmission cut across all frequencies. From Centauri Prime, Chief Archivist Colthell broadcast the ancient records. Every civilization received the same message, images of Earth's true power, and why they had chosen to hide it. "Remember." Colthell's voice echoed across space. Remember why the rule exists. Earth was not weak, they chose peace because the alternative was too terrible to contemplate. Now the Kraxan Federation has awakened what should have remained sleeping. General Frost watched the broadcast with cold satisfaction. Let them remember, she said quietly. Let them all remember why every star system knew the rule. She turned to her crew. Target the Kraxan flagship. Show them what humanity's weapons can really do. The galaxy watched, and remembered, and trembled. The rule had existed for a reason. Earth had not been sleeping, they had been choosing peace. Now, that choice had been taken from them, and the consequences would reshape the galaxy forever. High Admiral Vexthor's flagship drifted in space, its crystalline hull cracked and darkened. Around him, the remnants of his mighty invasion fleet hung lifeless against the stars. His sensor officer's voice trembled. They are heading toward Kraxan space, Admiral. All 700 of their hidden fleets. In the Great Council chambers of the Galactic Concordat, representatives from 1,000 civilizations gathered in emergency session. The Kraxan ambassador stood alone in the center, his crystalline form nearly transparent with terror. Please, he begged, you must help us. They are coming. But no help would come. On the massive display screens above, feeds from across the galaxy showed Earth's true military might emerging from hiding. Ships that bent gravity to their will. Weapons that could erase matter from existence. Technology that made the most advanced races look primitive. On the bridge of the Eternal Vigilance, General Diana Frost reviewed the tactical displays. Earth's fleets moved with terrible purpose, each one larger than the entire Kraxan invasion force. Lieutenant Commander Rhea Patel's voice was steady as she reported, the Kraxan Federation has 23 major military installations. 15 shipyard complexes. 7 quantum research facilities. Colonel Chen corrected quietly. They had those things. The human fleet didn't travel through space, they simply appeared where they wished to be. Reality itself seemed to bend around their ships as they emerged near Kraxan Prime, the crystalline homeworld of the Federation that had dared to break the ancient rule. In his hidden sanctuary deep beneath the surface of Kraxan Prime, Supreme Leader Vexnar watched in horror as his civilization's defenses proved worthless. Their mighty quantum shields that could withstand supernovas flickered and died. The automated defense platforms, pride of Kraxan engineering, went dark one by one. How, he whispered to his advisors. How could they hide such power? In the archives of Centauri Prime, Chief Archivist Colthell found the answer. The ancient records showed humanity's decision, made thousands of years ago. They had chosen to hide their true nature, to present themselves as a young, struggling species. Not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Better to be overlooked, the records said, than to face endless challenges from those who would test their might against ours. Better to be thought weak than to be forced to demonstrate our strength. The Eternal Vigilance hung in space above Kraxan Prime, its dark hull drinking in starlight. General Frost's voice transmitted across all frequencies, you were warned. Every star system knew the rule. Your ignorance of history does not excuse your actions. The Kraxan Federation's response came from Supreme Leader Vexnar himself, please, we surrender unconditionally. Show mercy. In the council chambers, the gathered representatives watched in tense silence. The ancient races among them remembered why the rule existed. They had seen Earth's power before, in ages past, and had established the warning for a reason. General Frost's response was cold and clear, mercy. Like the mercy you planned to show Earth's colonies. We found your invasion plans, Supreme Leader. We saw what you intended for our people. Colonel Chen's tactical display showed the Kraxan military infrastructure, bases, shipyards, weapon facilities. Not their civilian centers or populated areas. Earth's response would be precise, measured, and absolute. All ships, Frost commanded, execute final protocol. Show them the price of forgetting. The human fleet moved as one. Their weapons didn't fire beams or missiles, they fired what looked like pieces of darkness itself. Where these weapons struck, Kraxan military installations simply ceased to exist. Matter converted to energy with terrible efficiency, leaving nothing behind but empty space where proud fortresses had stood. In the Galactic Council, the Kraxan ambassador watched his civilization's military might erased from existence. Not through brutal destruction, but through the cold application of physics beyond his comprehension. Lieutenant Commander Patel's voice was steady, all Kraxan military targets neutralized. Their armed forces no longer exist. Civilian populations and infrastructure remain untouched. In his sanctuary, Supreme Leader Vexnar understood at last. Earth hadn't hidden their power out of weakness. They had hidden it because they knew what they could do. What they would be forced to do if provoked. General Frost opened a channel to all of known space. Let this serve as a reminder. We chose peace. We chose to hide our strength. But never mistake our restraint for weakness. The rule exists for a reason. The galaxy watched as Earth's fleets began to withdraw, leaving the Kraxan Federation intact but utterly defenseless. Their military was gone, their weapons erased, their pride shattered. But their people lived, a mercy they hadn't planned to show Earth. In the archives, Kolthel added a new entry to the ancient records. Today, the galaxy remembered why Earth must not be angered. Today, we learned again the price of forgetting. The rule remains, never anger Earth. For beneath their peaceful mask lies power that the galaxy can barely comprehend, power they wish they never had to use. The news spread across the galaxy like a quantum shockwave. The Kraxan Federation's military, the third most powerful in known space, had been erased from existence in less than a day. Not destroyed, not defeated, but simply removed. And Earth's fleets were still deployed, their dark ships hanging in space like silent warnings. In the Emergency Council of the Galactic Concordat, Elder Race Ambassador Kathara of the Luminous Collective rose to speak. Her energy form pulsed with ancient knowledge as she addressed the assembled representatives. We tried to warn them, she said, her voice echoing through their vast chamber. We, who remember Earth from the ancient days. We, who saw why they chose to hide their power. And now, the young races have awakened what should have remained sleeping. On the bridge of the Eternal Vigilance, General Diana Frost received the transmissions from across the galaxy. Dozens of civilizations, all suddenly remembering urgent peace treaties they needed to sign with Earth. Colonel Chen couldn't hide his bitter smile as he reported the incoming messages. The Zarkax Empire offers eternal friendship, he read. The Meridian Confederation wishes to establish immediate diplomatic relations. The Void Walkers. He paused, are actually running away. Their entire civilization is attempting to move to another galaxy. Lieutenant Commander Patel's holographic displays showed the movement of fleets across known space. Every military vessel within 100 light-years of Earth was retreating. Some races were even abandoning their frontier colonies, pulling back to their core worlds. They fear us now, Patel observed quietly. No, Frost corrected, they fear what we've always been. What we tried so hard not to show them. She turned to face her crew. Deploy Phase 2. Let them see everything. Across Earth's sphere of influence, more hidden installations revealed themselves. Defensive platforms larger than moons emerged from quantum shadows. Weapon systems that could restructure solar systems blinked into existence. The full extent of humanity's hidden power became visible for the first time in millennia. In the archives of Centauri Prime, Chief Archivist Kolthel found himself surrounded by representatives from younger races, all desperate to understand what they faced. He activated the oldest records, showing them the truth they had ignored. Earth was never weak, he explained, his tentacles gesturing at the ancient displays. They were the first. Before the Luminous Collective, before the Void Walkers, before any of us reached for the stars, humanity had already mastered powers we still cannot comprehend. The recordings showed Earth ships from ages past, wielding energies that defied known physics. They showed humanity's decision to retreat from their role as galaxy's supreme power, choosing instead to hide their strength and live in peace. On 100 worlds, military leaders watched their most classified sensors reveal the true extent of Earth's capabilities. The Eternal Vigilance alone carried enough power to destroy a solar system. And it was just one ship among thousands. General Frost's voice transmitted across all frequencies. For millennia, we hid who we were. We endured your condescension, your dismissal, your belief in our weakness. We chose peace not because we had to, but because we knew the alternative too well. In the council chambers, Ambassador Kathara shared the elder race's memories. Earth could have ruled the galaxy, she told the stunned assembly. Instead, they chose to watch and wait, intervening only when necessary. They built their terrible weapons and hid them away, praying they would never be needed. The Kraxan Federation's remnants served as a stark reminder. Their military installations remained as empty voids in space, perfect spheres of nothingness where matter had been converted to energy with terrifying precision. Their civilian populations remained untouched, protected even from the economic collapse that should have followed such devastation. Colonel Chen's tactical displays showed the reactions across known space. Several civilizations are deliberately downgrading their technology, he reported. They are trying to appear less threatening. A wise choice, Frost noted. Her next transmission went to Earth's hidden facilities throughout the galaxy. Activate the Sentinel network. What happened next stunned even those who thought they understood Earth's power. Throughout known space, automated defense platforms awakened. Quantum satellites previously invisible to all sensors revealed themselves. A web of humanity's technology, hidden for centuries, showed the galaxy that Earth had never been unprotected. Lieutenant Commander Patel monitored the reactions. The Kraxan Federation's surviving leadership is broadcasting a formal apology to every world in known space, she reported. They are warning others not to make their mistake. In the archives, Colfell added to their historical record. Today, the galaxy learned the full truth. Earth's peace was not the peace of the weak, but the restraint of those powerful enough to end wars before they began. Their hidden strength was not meant as a deception, but as a mercy to those who would have forced them to demonstrate it. The eternal vigilance moved through space, its dark hollow reminder of powers the galaxy had forgotten could exist. General Frost stood at its helm, watching the stars and remembering why humanity had chosen to hide for so long. Send the final message, she ordered. Throughout the galaxy, every communication device received the same transmission. The rule exists for a reason. Earth's power remains unveiled now, a reminder to those who would mistake our restraint for weakness. We still choose peace. Pray you never make us choose otherwise. The galaxy had forgotten why they feared Earth. Now, watching humanity's true might displayed across the stars, they would never forget again. 1 month after Earth's awakening, the greatest gathering in galactic history convened. Representatives from over 10,000 civilizations assembled in the Grand Conclave on neutral ground, a massive space station orbiting the galactic core. They came not to wage war or forge alliances, but to witness the formation of a new order. General Diana Frost stood before the assembled species, her dress uniform midnight black with silver trim. Behind her, through the station's quantum glass windows, the eternal vigilance hung against the backdrop of stars, a reminder of power that could no longer be hidden. For millennia, she began, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber, humanity chose to hide what we were. We watched young races rise, saw empires fall, and kept our true nature veiled. Not out of fear, but out of hope that we would never need to reveal it. In the archives of Centauri Prime, Chief Archivist Colfell worked tirelessly, updating the oldest records with new information. The truth about Earth could no longer be hidden in dusty vaults, it needed to be known, understood, and most importantly, remembered. The surviving leadership of the Kraxan Federation stood before the assembly, their crystalline forms dimmed with humility. Supreme Leader Vexnar's voice shook as he spoke. We forgot the ancient warning. We ignored the rule that every star system knew. The price of our arrogance was the complete erasure of our military capability. He paused, his form pulsing with emotion. Yet Earth showed mercy. They destroyed our weapons but spared our people. They eliminated our ability to wage war but helped prevent our economy from collapsing. Lieutenant Commander Rhea Patel, standing at a console behind General Frost, displayed holographic images of Earth's revealed technology. Quantum phase generators that could move planets. Gravity manipulation systems that could reshape solar systems. Weapons that didn't destroy matter but simply rewrote the laws of physics around their targets. We never wanted this power, Frost continued. Our ancestors developed it out of necessity, in an age so distant that most species here were still confined to their home planets. When we saw what we could do, we made a choice, to hide it away, to present ourselves as just another young civilization finding its way among the stars. Colonel Chen's voice came through Frost's private comm. The long-range sensors are picking up something. The Void Walkers, they are coming back. The species that had fled to another galaxy was returning, their vast living ships appearing at the edge of known space. They had realized that running from Earth was pointless. Humanity's reach had always been far greater than anyone suspected. Ambassador Kathara of the Luminous Collective rose to address the assembly, her energy form brightening the entire chamber. We, the elder races, kept Earth's secret for millennia. We remembered their power from the ancient days. Now all must know not just the rule, but the reason behind it. The station's displays activated, showing the true extent of human influence throughout the galaxy. Hidden quantum satellites in every star system. Cloaked defense platforms protecting even civilizations that didn't know they were being watched. A web of technology so advanced it had been mistaken for natural phenomena. Our response to the Kraxan Federation was not revenge, Frost explained. It was a reminder. A demonstration of why we chose to hide, why we preferred to be thought weak. The rule existed not to protect Earth, but to protect you, from having to witness what we could do if provoked. Supreme Leader Vexna stepped forward again. We learned. Oh, how we learned. Our military was not defeated, it was erased. Our weapons were not destroyed, they ceased to exist. And yet our people prosper, protected now by the very power we foolishly challenged. General Frost's next words echoed through the chamber. The old rule was simple, never anger Earth. The new rule comes with understanding. Earth's power remains unveiled not as a threat, but as a promise. We will maintain peace in this galaxy. We will protect even those who once thought us weak. But we will never again hide what we are. The assembled representatives watched as Earth's fleet performed one final demonstration. The Eternal Vigilance and its companion ships didn't fire weapons, instead, they rewrote reality itself. A dead star at the edge of the galaxy flickered and came alive again, its nuclear fire rekindled by human technology. This is who we always were, Frost concluded. Not conquerors, not rulers, but guardians. We hid our strength so we would never have to use it. Now that it's revealed, let it serve not to terrify, but to preserve peace. In the archives, Colfell recorded the final entry about this pivotal moment in galactic history. The rule has changed, but its importance remains. Earth's power is no longer hidden, but neither is it wielded as a weapon. They remain what they always were, giants who chose to walk softly among the stars, wielding power beyond comprehension with wisdom gained from countless ages of watching, waiting, and hoping they would never need to reveal their true nature. The galaxy had learned its lesson. The old rule had been simple, never anger Earth. The new rule was deeper, remember why Earth hid its power, and be grateful for their restraint. For in the end, humanity's greatest strength wasn't their godlike technology or their terrible weapons, it was their endless capacity to choose peace, even when they had the power to choose otherwise. Every star system now knew not just the rule, but the truth behind it. And in the vast darkness between the stars, Earth's ships maintained their vigilant watch, hoping that this time, the lesson would last forever.